We are going to talk to Eric in Iowa. Eric, you're talking to Eric and Christy.
Hello
what would you like to speak about
there.
Hey.
Hi. I think there may be a slight delay, but however, yes, I'm Eric from Iowa. Love you guys' show. Also love Atheist Experience. So moving on. Atheist Christian here. Grew up in a, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Grew up Pentecostal. I was my mom's only child that grasped onto the Pentecostal beliefs and everything of that nature. I grew up a good Christian boy, this time and the other, then backslided. Don't go to church no more. It's a bunch of bullshit. Oh, sorry.
You can. It's all right. There's not a restriction on cussing on the show. You're good.
Okay, great. And so, but I'm calling because I am pro-abortion, and it hit me when I'm 40 years old, but when I was a teenager reading the Old Testament and things of that nature, man, I was doing a lot of questioning, and I started thinking, well, yeah, I think it's more in the New Testament. I was thinking, well, if babies do not go to hell, and I think the age of reasoning is 12 or something like that. If they die before 12 or 10, unfortunately, and they go straight to heaven, then what is the problem with a mother or female that's getting an abortion? The child goes straight to heaven. So why are you Christians going crazy about a female that's having an abortion? And I never understood that, still don't. I've been listening to you guys' arguments as well as the theist arguments. I'm still a little bit confused, but I'm mainly calling to see if you guys can poke some holes in my rationality, if I'm even rational or whatever. I know me believing in God is like, still like, no, first of all, let's start with that. I kind of understand that, but it's just more of my concern of,
well, I mean, calling yourself a Christian still and an atheist, I think that the language that you're using might.
I'm still.
Hmm?
Oh, I'm not an atheist. I still say I'm a Christian.
Okay. So, well, then that takes care of that. What I was going to say is there's actually an amazing history there. It is so cool to look into because that was totally a thing. There was a time when it was not uncommon for young women to kill babies, like just find somebody else's kid and chuck them in the river. And the reason they would do it is because they would know that the baby would immediately go to heaven. So that's fine. But they know that if they commit suicide, they go to hell. And so if they kill the baby, then they'll be sentenced to death. And it would be a way of committing suicide that you could still go to heaven for. And it was a loophole that got used a lot.
And that line of reasoning, when you extrapolate it out, can get really messy really, really quickly. I mean, why not just go ahead and murder everybody when they're born if we're promising them eternity in heaven? And, if you start to find yourself going down that line of thinking, it's probably a good idea to stop, pause, and check in on some of your premises. The first one here being the assumption that all children under 10 or 12 go to heaven, which is something that has been pretty hotly debated throughout theocratic philosophy. I don't know that there is a consensus on that in any portion of the church.
Yeah. But just that whole thing, there's a lot more to it than most people recognize. If you want to explore it, it is a very human conversation that's been had for a very, very, very long time. And eventually it became a kind of a capital sin to kill a baby. And they kind of put a stop to the young women murdering babies thing. But just as you go along, we still find examples. There are times, even in recent memory, that there have been kind of fire and brimstone, end of the world preachers who are saying, hey, this, like I think it was Harold Camping, I believe. There was a mother who killed her daughters because she didn't want her daughters to go through the experience of the end of the world, and so sent them to heaven early. You know, it's a and I know this is not an abortion topic, right? We're talking about children.
Yeah, but
but just kind of when it comes to the way we treat those things, if you have kind of this magical view of the world, you can wind up with some, like Christy said, some really, really weird effects.
Okay, well, I've never thought about it that way. Everything that you guys said never even came to me, so I'm glad that you brought that to my attention, because I was just stuck on just the abortion portion, terminating a pregnancy. And I learned that language from Tracy and Matt watching the previous shows. It's terminating a pregnancy. I'm sorry if I still got it wrong, but thank you guys for that knowledge. I had no idea that individuals was killing children as a loophole to have them to go to heaven. I literally did not know that. I heard about that one woman many years ago, but I didn't know that was something that people were doing so far history-wise. So that's mind-blowing.
There's also prescription for abortion in the Bible. When it comes to abortion as a topic, I think Christy and the show that he hosts on Thursdays, Secular Sexuality, would probably be able to handle that a whole lot better than at least I could. I know my limits. I'm just some dude on the internet.
Okay.
Christy, what do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're taking on abortion writ large, there's a lot of different schools of thought and a lot of different ways to tackle it. But I guess the primary position of most folks is that it comes down to bodily autonomy. The idea that you have the right not to have your body turned into a gestation suit for anybody else, and that you have the right and the ownership to your own body. There are some different ways to tease that apart and some reasonable objections to that argument, and a lot of other schools of thought and different ways to approach this conversation. But that might be something for you to maybe digest, and then perhaps give us a call on Thursday nights at 7.
I actually will, because I do want to have some other questions specifically for that show. And I'm just going to kind of end it right now, but I just want to say this little comment. I love you guys. Even though I'm a Christian theist, I don't believe a lot of the Christian stuff that they say anymore that I grew up with. And I had a lot of questions thinking that I was sinful, thinking that I was bad, because if you question God, if you question one of the ministers or the church mothers or the deacons, you're shunned, you're placed either on the mourners. I don't know if y'all know about the mourners bench, but we had the mourners bench, all type of stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? And so many years later, I come across this show. Well, I came across the show because of Holy Kool-Aid. I was watching False Prophecies, and then somehow it hit on Holy Kool-Aid's sidekick, false sidekicks, and then it latched on to Talk Heathen and Atheist Experience, and you guys were busting out all the questions that I did not know to have, and questions that I did have that not even my minister, the pastor, my parents could answer, and you guys drop the ball. Drop the bomb. Not the ball. Drop the ball. So I want to thank you guys so much for helping me emotionally, helping me through my process of thinking. I know I still got some wrong stuff, but thank you so much, and I'm going to hang up. Bye-bye.
Take care.
So
just
much.
so you know, you got love rings from the crew. You got a lot of love in the chat, and people are really glad you called in, so thank you. Take care. So I actually got a reminder too that during those first 2 calls, I should have been plugging Recovering from Religion. The Hotline Project is a huge resource that people can call into or message. It is a peer-to-peer kind of program that just allows people to kind of, you're feeling alone, you call up and you just talk with somebody for a while. And I was one of those people, and a lot of us do, when we can, we'll volunteer for the Hotline Project. But it's not just that. If you also go to Recovering from Religion, you can find Christy, is it right? The Secular Therapy Project is also through RFR?
Yes, yeah, and you can. They have their own website, I believe, the seculartherapyproject.org, but you can get all that through or seculartherapy.org, but you can get there through RFR as well.
Yeah. So if you need to, want to, would like to, definitely contacting them and seeing if you can get set up with a secular therapist, or if you're in the Austin area and Christy's got some room on the docket. I don't know. Am I allowed to pimp your private practice?
Hey, you go right ahead.
Hey,
People
Christy, what's
can
the
find
name
me
of
all
your
over the internet.
practice?
Valence Counseling.
Valence Counseling. So how
yeah,
can people
folks can find
Valence Counseling?
ValenceCounseling.com, VCATX.com, or just search for Christy Powell and avoid anything with YouTube connected to it.
Come on, I got a shell for you a little bit, man. I love what you do.
Hey, I'll take it on. Thanks so much.
Yeah.